Welcome to Living on the B-Side, where music and stories come together to inspire and transform. I'm your host Birgit, and in every episode we explore the universal language of music, how it shapes our lives, connects us, and tells the stories that define us. Through heartfelt conversations and powerful melodies, we uncover the magic that makes music so much more than just sound. Okay, hey B-Siders, welcome to another episode. And as you all know, we talk about the power of music, how it can transform someone's life, and then hopefully other people's lives through it. You never know. And today I've got Jay Davids with me, and I'm just going to say hello straight away. Hello, Jay. How are you going?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome to the B-Side.
Thank you.
I'm sure we're going to have lots of fun today. If you don't mind, could you just quickly introduce yourself and share what you feel like you want to share that you might know?
Sure. So my name is Jay, which you already mentioned that.
Yep.
I have been, I'm a songwriter, singer, and performer. I work generally in the Christian music space. I've been doing this for a very long time. It feels like forever, about 30 something years. And recently pursuing it in a more professional manner. But finding my niche, so to speak, of the mission where I feel like I'm the message that I want to share, and that's kind of what brings me here. Is I'm finally stepping into what I feel like my destiny is, for lack of a better word. But yeah.
Nice. And now you got us all curious. What is that? Please share. Don't keep us hanging in here any longer. Suspension is killing me now. Go ahead.
Right. So I have I've been through many things in my time. You know,
Mm.
I'm not as young as I may appear. You can tell by the white in my beard that I'm not a young guy anymore. And uh, just through life, I've been down, I've been broken, um, I've lost. I'm divorced. I've lost parents. I've lost, so I've been through the things that life brings. Um, and through that all, there's always been a resilience in me. And now that's part of my faith. And so I'm the first to admit that um, that's my foundation is my faith. But that being able to walk through that and have that foundation, I've gone from that brokenness to a place of restoration. And so that's really the mission that I feel I is my job to share, to really help other people experience that sense of restoration, that there is hope, that there is a finish or a completeness to the trouble or the struggle that you may find yourself in. And my stories that are in my songs and all of that is really how I best communicate that to my audience. So that's my mission, is to get that message out there.
Yeah, you just mentioned that you've been through the ups and downs and the challenges of life, by the sound of it, maybe a little bit more than most people.
I sometimes I feel like I have been. I mean, but I don't know, because I think every individual, like, to them, the thing they went through might be the worst thing ever.
Mm,
Um,
good point.
but yeah, for me, I mean, I can list a few things. My dad um, had an aneurysm when I was 17 years old, and essentially became unable to function, and then he died when I was 26. So I was a young man. I was married to my first wife at the time, and that was devastating to me. Both, I wasn't married at 17. I was married at 26. Uh, just to
Okay,
just to
yeah,
be
just to
clear,
clarify.
just to clarify. But I essentially felt like I lost my father when I was 17 because of what happened to him. So I didn't have that parental input, and a lot of people don't. But I feel I had something wonderful, and then when my dad got sick, I lost it. So that was a huge loss to me.
Mm.
Um, and then I found myself in a like I said, I feel like I've been through some things, so I'm gonna nutshell them very quickly, and we can dig in deeper later if you choose
Yeah.
to.
Yep.
Um,
Sure.
but I found myself in a very bad working situation, almost a cult like situation that it took me 13 years to pull myself out of. Now, part of that was because I let myself get pulled into somebody because I was missing my father, and this person presented himself as that, and so it was just a terrible situation for me. So I finally escaped that situation. It was like out of one frying pan into another fire over and over again in my life.
Mm.
Um, and then survived for a little while, and then my first wife and we ran into the issues that happen in life, and
Mm.
so we got divorced, and the separation that happened through that, and through the difficulty that comes with, I have 4 children, so the difficulty that comes with navigating that with children and the separation that happens there, that's all like, that was all like devastating times for me.
Mm.
um, and then again, it was when I really felt like I was just starting to kind of get some momentum, I would hit a wall and something else would happen. Heartbreak, or the new relationship of a new girlfriend that I had. This was the first time in 20 years that I had even pursued somebody other than my wife, you know. Um, so, and then that falling apart, and things like that. So, and then deep depression at that point, and so it was, there
A
was
lot.
this up and down. There was a lot, and
Yeah.
like, I've lost homes, I lost jobs, I've lost businesses, I've lost family, I've lost parents, and any one of those things I think are enough to cripple somebody.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying I'm anything special. That was just my life. I dealt with it. I went through it. I did it. But I can imagine that for someone else, one of those things might be to them. That was the devastation that they needed to
Mm.
recover from, and that's true for me too. I didn't have a choice in the other things, other than my own. I don't blame that all on the universe or anything. I made mistakes, so part of that was self inflicted. Some of it, but some of it wasn't. And
Mm.
so through that, um, is how the tapestry of my story
Mm.
kind of came to be, and that's kind of the perspective I come from.
Yeah. And I'm glad you shared that because I'm sure that there's a lot of people who, and I can put my hand up, where life just kind of feels like it throws all these mutts things at you constantly, and you stand there going, again, really? I've
Mm,
just stood up.
hmm.
What the heck? So, you know, that's, and then there's obviously the other thing where you think other people that just breeze through life, which probably isn't true because they might be better at masking it. That
Mm.
so anyway, that's a whole nother issue we could probably
That
talk
that's a whole
about, you
nother
know.
that is a whole nother that's a whole
We're
nother
not gonna
podcast.
go there.
Uh,
No, we're here for the music,
well,
so
because we all
let's
wear our masks, even me, right? All of us wear those masks and try to act like, I promise you, if you looked at me during those years, what was
mm,
going on inside was not what I was showing on the outside.
yeah.
It just wasn't. That may be why I had to keep dealing with it, because I never actually faced the thing until
Mm,
I
yeah.
hit that actual bottom.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking with everything, and I'm sort of looking at my own journey, and I don't know how, I'm wondering how yours is in that. When you go through these or went through these downs, difficulties, whatever you want to call them, were you still tuning into music? Were you still making music, or were you like, I can't even do that anymore? How did that sort of
So
happen? Or
there were, generally, it was always my go to. It was the
Mhm.
thing that I clung to. Um, there were times when I walked away, but even when I walked away, it was, in the grand scheme of thing, momentary. Um, because, like, it might have been, where I said, well, I'm not going to do this on a professional level for a while. I'm going to back away from this, but I would still sit down at my keyboard or pick up my guitar in by myself. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So there were times that I absolutely did say, no, that must not be the thing for me, because there was so much heartache that came every time I tried to pick it up, it seemed.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, but as I look back, even back to to when I was a kid, 12 years old, 10 years old, when I started writing, I literally started writing when I was 10 or 12 years old. And I can look back to that time and say, any time that I went through a difficulty, there was a time when I was in middle school where I felt like well, the reality was I had no friends. I was not a I wasn't one of the cool kids, but I wasn't one of the outcasts either. But for some reason, I just didn't have that group of friends. Even when I left school or at school or home, there was nobody in my life, and it was heartbreaking for that age.
Mhm.
Even then, music was my go to. Let me tell you a story about that real quick, because I think
Mhm.
that's telling. So when I was in grade school, I believe it was fifth grade, I started going to private school, and I went from public school to private school here in the States. And private school is very cliquish. There's small groups of kids that all had their friendships, and I was the outsider, and they were not going to let me into their group,
Mhm.
because it was already 5 or 6 years into schooling, and so they already had their friendships. They didn't need me. And I felt that rejection. So, and fifth and sixth grade, that's a big deal. Um, and I started to kind of not get bullied, but I was feeling this palpable rejection every time I was around the other kids, because we'd be out at recess in the yard, and they're all doing something, and I try to join, and it's like, no, you're not with us. You're just that passive rejection.
Mhm.
um and that was heartbreaking. And then one day I decided, because I am from a musical family and music has always just been a part of life, I went and I asked the music teacher. I said, would it be okay if during lunch or after lunch during the recess hour, if I don't really want to go outside anymore, can I go into that practice room where that piano is, and can I just play it? Can I just mess around in there? And she was like, yeah, of course you can do that. So I had permission, and I went in there and I started playing piano, and I taught myself to play piano from sixth grade through ninth grade. So 2 years of that, I didn't have friends, but I had that piano, and every day I would go during lunch, and I remembered my mom playing chords on the piano at home, and I would figure out what they sounded like, and I would do that. That's literally what I did every day for 2 years. Um, so that was quite literally my salvation during that time, for that mental anguish that I was in.
Mhm.
Um, and
Yeah.
then to turn around when I got into ninth grade, high school, I started going to public school again, and all of a sudden, I was the popular kid, because I was a ninth grader who could both sing and play piano, and they loved that about me. They were just, wow, this kid is talented. He can do things. And I was the band leader, or I was the lead singer of a rock band and stuff like that. And that was a huge shift from being this rejected kid to now I'm this sought after kid.
Oh, wow.
Um, that, like I said, it was whoo up and
Yeah.
down.
Gosh.
But the power of music, that was like I said, that was foundational and transformative for me. And I would, it's easy to look at that, and I'm a little like hesitant to talk about it in this context, because some people are like, well, you just use it kind of like a crutch. That was the thing that because you couldn't deal with this, so you dealt with this. And yes, that's absolutely true. I needed that. I needed something to help me through.
Mm. I mean, the thing that I always say, and I can relate to you because I had similar experiences going through school.
Mm,
Very little friends. I did have friends, but not that many. And I did spend a lot of time on my own because my mum worked two jobs. She was divorced, so
mm,
she worked two jobs, and I was on my own a lot after school. I was a shy kid too, so I wasn't like, going out making new friends wasn't that easy for me. So I obviously didn't necessarily, I did play instruments back then, but not like you did, like all the time. So for me, music on
Mm.
the radio was more my companion.
Mm.
And when you say it's a crutch, I don't know if some people might believe that, but I think it's more this kind of invisible friend that helps you
Mm.
deal emotionally with what's going on, even if at that age you don't understand that. It's just
I
there to
like
help
that.
you deal with all this mix of emotions that probably comes up of being rejected, not having friends, having, changed schools, things like that. Um, and you probably don't talk to the parent as well about it because you don't really understand it
No.
yourself. So I think the word crutch, I wouldn't, yeah, I'm not sure if I like it, to be honest.
That's fair. I
You
like
know,
friend better than crutch. I think I'll
yeah,
change how
yeah,
I
it's
how
sort
I
of an
phrase that from
emotional,
now on.
invisible friend, I guess. And
Yeah.
over time, we both probably discovered that, there's other ways of dealing with things. But when you're young and obviously in development stages as well, sometimes you just need something to hold on to.
Mhm.
And if you haven't got the physical friends, then you just got music. Obviously, in our case, you played it and I listened, and here we are. We didn't turn out bad, did we?
Exactly.
We're still
Did
here.
not.
We had,
We're still here, and in the long term, I think you're right. I mean, in the long term, it was a thing that got us from point A to point B. It got us through and helped us through,
mm,
and that's it's almost a magical thing in that it's not something tangible. It's just this almost spiritual experience
mm,
that existed. That's why it's like you said, it's a friend. It's that friend. There's the message in it, the memories that come from when you hear, like, I don't know about you, I can hear a song from when I was a kid and it takes me right back.
oh,
you know
oh,
Sometimes
yeah,
that's bad, sometimes it's fantastic.
yeah, yeah. Well, then again, the ones that are bad can also serve as a reminder that one, we got through it, and two,
Exactly.
the lessons learned and how we've kind of developed, matured, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's. I just think music is such a great way of, I don't know, dealing with life, I
Mm.
guess. Um,
One way to put it. Yeah.
One way to put it.
it's
There's probably better
it's
expressions,
I
but
think it's a wonderful tool, and like
yeah,
I said, I have a faith perspective, so
yeah.
I don't expect everyone to share that, I believe it was a gift. I think it was a gift from God, that this is something I'm giving you, that it's gonna help you in these areas when you don't know what to do. That's the way I feel about it, which is why I feel like it's such um such a mission minded perspective for me, of this is something that I can literally use as a tool to help others.
Hmm.
That's it's a gift in my mind.
Hmm. Well, let's talk about that then.
Okay.
Your mission. Because obviously, from what I hear, you've had music basically in your veins ever since you remember.
Oh my
Your
gosh.
family seemed to be very music focused. A
Bunch of
lot of,
crazy musicians.
yeah, I can see all the guitars in the background. So your life has taught you many lessons that I would think are now part of you writing the songs
Absolutely.
they're coming out. Tell us a little. I mean, you've touched on your mission earlier on, but is there something like specific? Do you have people like yourself in mind when you write songs that you feel like you just
So
want to tell them, look, it's okay, you're gonna be able to make it, or
so yes and no. So I do feel like there are other people like me. I might, if I think about it, because I'm a father, I'm a husband. I have been through loss in those areas. I've lost my father, and I've lost children, and I don't mean they're not gone, but there's been separate times of separation, you know.
okay, yep,
And so I don't want to give the wrong impression. My children are all healthy and alive and
yep,
and good. But there have been times when my children are older. My youngest is 15 and my oldest is 27. So um, there have been times in their lives when they didn't need dad as much, and that separation is painful. So my heart is to help kind of bridge the divide for fathers and children. That's like, if I had to pick, this is who I want to talk to. it's that's the people I want to talk to. Dads who are broken and disillusioned and think that there's no hope, or children who are broken and disillusioned and think there's no hope because they didn't have that relationship with a father, with a loving father that that I was blessed enough to have. So like I said, I did lose my dad young, but my dad was wonderful. My dad was one of the most amazing, kind, soft-spoken, gentle people that you would ever have the pleasure of meeting. But I lost him right when I was just barely getting to know him. Um, and so my heart is that other people would experience what I experienced, but in reverse. Like you might not have it now, but you can. You can have
Mm.
that type of relationship. It may not be your natural father. It may be a spiritual thing. It may be just someone who is a father or a
Mhm.
mother so that's where my heart is to um if I was talking when I'm talking to people, that's where I feel like um my where I end up going um
Mm.
naturally. But having said that, it's not only those people who identify with my songs and my music, um, which is what I find fascinating. It's really I find that the people who are identifying with my music are people who have experienced loss in all different areas, and they have experienced that hopelessness, and that they're seeking some shred or some grain of hope, and they look at me and say, "It worked for him." And if he's been through that, then I can make it through that.
Mm. Yeah. Okay.
Even on a purely human level,
Mm.
if I could do it, so can anybody out there.
Yeah.
Now I feel like again, I know that there's for me, and I believe this is for everybody because I believe this is a universal truth. I believe that there is hope for everybody through faith in God. Not everyone is ready for that, and I understand that. And I'm not here to try to that's not here or there for me. That's where my belief is.
Mhm.
So for me, it's like, yes, I believe that's there, and I believe ultimately that is the solution. For solution's not a good word, but you understand what I'm trying to
Yeah, I
say.
do. I think
That
I
is
do. I think I
that
do.
is that is the goal. But even on a purely human level, there is hope for people. There is another side to this chasm. You will come out of this valley eventually,
Mm.
So that's did I answer your question? Because I might have gone like this a little bit.
But sometimes you need to make the picture really clear. So that's fine. Thank you. Now, I'm wondering when you talk about songs, is there one song in
Yeah.
particular that you get feedback from others from saying, God, this song really hit me, this song really helped me, or this is like my go-to song? Is there one? And if so,
There
can you share a
is.
few sort of feedback you've gotten from others?
Absolutely. So it's a song I've written, and it's which is on it's like an honoring thing to me. Like I'm like, I can't believe I was blessed to have this come through my brain to share it. It is a song that I wrote back in probably my darkest time. This was about 2017, 2016, 2017. I was in what I would call a very deep depression. I had just had been through a divorce. I had um, met somebody and fallen in love again, and then just kind of hit the wall. And I lost my job. I lost well, it wasn't my job. It was a business. I lost my business. I lost my home, and the girl decided she was done with me. All within about a 2 week period. And so here I am living, sleeping on my friends' couches because I'm literally homeless. Um, Trying to find my way, trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and I just could not imagine a way out of that darkness. Um, for people who have been in that type of despair, that was the first time for me, and I never believe it. I never believed it when other people told me about their depression and despair until then. It was like, if you haven't experienced it, you have no idea what people are going through. And that was that moment for me. But it was out of that moment that I wrote this song. And the chorus of the song is, when I finally reach the end and I find me in your hands and I find the burdens lifted and I found a way to stand. I was never absent from your arms. You were never silent for too long. Even in the waiting, even through the storms, it was you all along. And the whole point of that chorus is, I was in darkness. Remember, I was in this depressed state when I wrote that. That was purely hope, me saying, one day I'm going to see the end, and I'm going to realize that even during this time, you were holding me. And I was, obviously I'm talking to God. But even during this time, I know you were holding me, and I'm going to see that one day, but I can't see it right now. That song, it makes me tear up just thinking about it. It's a very emotional thing for me. So I apologize if I
That's okay. I
crack
might
a
tear
little
up
bit.
with you.
So and I don't know if she's going to actually hear this. So I'll tell a story. So there is a young lady who has adopted me as her dad, and she's gone through some things, and she has her struggles, and I imagine that 90% of the listens to that song on Spotify are this young lady. um, she has told me that is my go-to song. I have it on repeat. It gets me through my dark days. And she's one who deals with depression. She's one who deals with addictions and just deep despair. And for her to tell me those things and to share that with me, and she's not the only one who's told me that, but it's that type of response that makes me go, she is the reason I wrote that song. It might not, I don't care if it touches anybody else, but she is the reason that I wrote that song. And again, that song is probably the first one I wrote in a long time, and that was back in 2017 or so that I wrote that song. But yeah, so that would be the one song that I've seen it touch people's lives, and I've seen them cling to this hope that's in that song and use it like as that friend, as that pulling them out of that darkness. And that, to me, that's everything. That's reason enough to do the next one and the next one and the next one.
Wow.
it's I'm like,
grab the tissues, everybody.
they're way upstairs, so I'm stuck.
Well, your t-shirt will have to do.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
But that's yeah, I don't know, but sometimes that's, if you just reach that one person, and I can in a way relate from a listener perspective. I've had that many songs over the years who just appear to me at the right time with the right lyrics and the right sound, and just helping you through those 5 minutes, because sometimes you just need to get through 5 minutes of your day. And that's why I always say, when I talk to humans like yourself who actually make it, who create it, you guys sometimes don't know the impact you're actually having on humans like myself and that lady, obviously. Shout out to her.
And hearing it back from people like you and people like her, and when we hear that feedback, it's what gives us the I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this, because we don't necessarily, especially in the stage I'm in, we don't necessarily see any. I'm not going to say we don't see feedback. We don't see success as the world points at success. You don't see a lot of sales. You don't see a lot of streams. You don't see a lot of concerts and all that stuff. And if I counted that as success, I would have quit a long time ago. But that's not the success. That it's that one person that it makes a difference in their life, And I'm not just talking about the hopeful songs. I have songs that'll just make you laugh. And if that song made somebody laugh and brought joy in their life for that day, oh my gosh, that's all that's enough to do more,
And that's the
So,
opposite thing. We can't, that's such a good point you've made there. I think, and I feel that we we do sort of unfortunately focus a lot on the negative, dark, whatever you want to
mm,
call it, the struggles. But we should also look at when we have a day or a phase where things are just good, we should
hmm
celebrate that. And we need the
absolutely.
soundtrack to that. And this is, again, things that you and other musicians do. We get that soundtrack.
Yeah.
I mean, just, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to, like, maybe when they were younger, it was summer, they went out with their friends or on their own, and they have a song that constantly reminds them of that.
Yeah.
I have a song that I can't immediately think of,
I was just
you know?
thinking of one myself.
There you go. So it's not just about getting through the struggles or whatever else, it's also celebrating life when it's
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
That's what we need
Yeah,
too. So,
I'm a huge this sounds contradictory. I'm a huge blues fan, and I love Stevie Ray Vaughan.
mm,
And I remember as a 12-year-old kid riding my bike around town with my Walkman headphones on, your little orange, foamy headphones that we
oh
used to
God,
have,
yeah,
and my cassette Walkman sitting on my hip, and I was listening
yeah,
to my Stevie Ray Vaughan cassette, and
yeah,
like a song like Pride and Joy would come on. I was 12 years old. I had no idea what Pride and Joy meant or what that song was about, but I knew I loved that song, and I hear it today, and I'm like, that just brings me back. I'm 12 years old. I'm riding my bike again. The
yeah.
wind's in my hair. I'm just singing at the top of my lungs, riding my bike. I'm sure the neighbors were looking at me like, what is wrong with that Sharshmit kid? It's like, yeah, what is wrong with him? What's going on over here? So, yeah, and it is those joyful. It's like the music is the soundtrack of our lives. That's a fantastic way to put it. It could be down, it can be up, but you know
hmm
what? It can transform it too.
hmm
It can take us from that down to something
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
And yeah, and to be an artist that creates that, and
yeah.
that people that's it that's huge.
That's
It's a blessing to me. It's exciting to hear that from other people too. So
yeah. And the funny thing is as well, and I know we're not going to touch too much on that, but there is obviously more and more research done around that power of music, how that impacts our brain and everything else. So what probably people like yourself have known for such a long time is now actually proven as well. So there's,
yeah,
scientific stuff done that proves that,
like all the
this
various
works.
frequencies that accomplish different things in your body or
Yes,
in your
things
yeah.
like that. Or,
It's
for people with like dementia,
hmm
Alzheimer's, pain reduction,
it's
things like that.
it's
So,
amazing.
you and I probably have known that this can happen subconsciously since we've started loving music.
Exactly.
And
It's like we
now,
didn't know it, but somehow we know it.
yes, yeah. Sounds
We
strange, but it's
feel it.
true.
Yeah,
So, that's
absolutely.
the beauty of it. If you know, you know. So now you obviously it appears to me, and I know again, masks, you're in a good place at this point in time.
Yes.
What's going on now? What's happening for you, meaning from a sound music perspective? What are you doing?
So
You going on tour, you're playing gigs, you got music coming out, what's happening?
I am playing some gigs. I have music coming out. So I've just over the past year, I've been working with a group out of Nashville, Tennessee, and uh, I have completed an EP, which is in the process of being rolled out. Um, I'm not sure when this is airing, but it is due to come out on March 21st of 2025, which is this coming Friday. And that's my third song in the EP. I have two previous songs that came out, which have been successful, and people seem to be really receptive to what I'm doing. This newest one I'm super excited about. It's called Good Bad Day. It's kind of the same thing that we're talking about here, and
Okay.
um, it's essentially about how when you wake up in the morning, you can make a decision. You can have a good day, you can have a bad day, or you can make it a good bad day. So
Okay.
that's the whole idea behind the song. It's got this You'll find yourself whistling as the song ends. It's one of the it's going to stick in your head
Mm-hmm.
type of song. So that's what's going on for me right now. So musically, songwriting wise, I've got a lot going on, and just a very exciting time for me. So I'm working with NRT Music. I'm working with Nashville Christian songwriters. That's my producers. Brian Urick has done an amazing job on all my music, and working with musicians that I feel like I don't even belong in the room with, but when they take your idea and they turn it into like, it's like, this is what I gave you and you just did this with it. It's they're brilliant, and it's the most amazing thing to see something that you've thought of, you've conceptualized, and then they just turn it into this absolute work of art. So I'm super excited about that, and that's just the first project. Like I said, I'm on release 3 of the EP, and then the rest will come out later this spring. And then I've got more projects lined up for the rest of the year. So actually quite excited about where things are going, and I'm always booking events and things like that. That's just part of
Mm-hmm.
what you do. You play every chance you get. You want everyone that you can to hear
Yeah.
your music, and to get a chance to experience what you do, because as nice as it is to create things in the studio, and I love doing that, it's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite places to be is in the studio making music, because I love that creative process.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing quite like being in front of people and sharing that face to face, being able to play it and watch it really affect them in real time. That's there's just something that happens in that live environment, which it's not tangible. It's just something that is it's kind of one of those things that drives me forward to do more. So
Mm.
so yeah, lots of exciting things happening in my world musically. So I feel like I'm in a very good place. I'm very excited about all of it. So
Wow. Sounds exciting.
I am excited.
Enjoy the ride. I'm sure it's very well
Yes.
deserved.
Well, it's a lot of work. And
Oh,
so I don't know that I deserve. I don't know that I deserve anything at this point in my life, but I am absolutely willing to enjoy the fruits of the labor that I've put in. So
Mm.
it's it's like I said, the reward is not the success that most people think it is. The reward is much more intangible than that. So
Before we close off our chat, which
yeah,
we had no idea where it would take us, and
I know.
it's always surprising, but it's just so nice to just go with the flow and see where things end up. Um, is there anything on your heart that you just want to share that you feel people need to hear? If it's music
Hmm.
related, great. If not,
Well,
great. Timing's
I mean,
perfect.
right? So I think the thing that I would like people to really understand, and this comes back to my core, my message, is simply that there's whatever you're going through, if it's bad, if it's hard, if it's difficult, if it's dark, there's hope. Um, I'm proof of that. Um, I don't know and can't explain away, or wouldn't even try to justify the things that people go through, or to minimize them, because I realize that it might seem like a little thing to me, but it's not little to them.
Mm.
And so I I just would encourage people that there is, regardless of what your situation is, not too dark for there to be hope. And sometimes it's hard, but you can grab onto that hope. And if I can encourage someone in that way to hope again, to try again, to not give up. I think I can't remember who said it. I wish I could remember who said this quote, but the only way to truly fail is to stop trying.
Mm.
And to and and so if music being your friend, if music being what draws you through, then use it. But whatever it is that you have to cling to, use it.
Mm.
Um, and there's that's my, like I said, that's my drive. That's my, I want to speak hope and light and love to people. That's what I want people to hear when they hear me talk. I want them to see that, hey, that guy had it pretty bad, and I don't have it as bad as he had it. Maybe that's the goal. Maybe that was the point of me having all the garbage happen. Is there's not much that people can go through that I haven't been through something pretty similar or worse, and if I have to go through it so that they can see that they'll be okay, then let's go.
Yeah.
You know?
And
so that's my takeaway. I hope that's what people hear from my heart.
Nice. Yeah. I love when you said love. What was it? Love, light, and hope. I think something along those lines. We definitely need more of that right now in general.
Absolutely.
The world's a crazy place.
It truly is.
So I think we need connection more than anything right now. And if music can provide that, then let's do it. let's just do it. And hopefully
100% agree with that.
We can create some form of positive change in our little corner of the world.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jay, for sharing your story. And, I'm sure it will have given a lot of food for thought and hope to a lot of people.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome.
This has been a pleasure chatting with you.
Oh, thank you. For anyone that's interested in Jay's music, please check out the episode description. You can find him everywhere on social media. All the details will be in there. Other than that, I want to say a big thank you again, Jay, for being here today. And thank you, B-Siders, for joining us for this conversation. And I'll be back with you guys in the next episode. Until then, sending you much music and love. Take care. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.